I sort of loosely titled this In Every Atom Are 100 Blazing Suns, which is the sort of new project I've been working on, but that I'll show later. I'm going to start with some early work. The beginning, when I first started realizing that I wanted to be an artist and was making work, I was using photography as a means to do this, and pretty early on I became really frustrated with the limitations of photography. So I sort of was devising ways to challenge, like, where was I going to find meaning in the work that I was making, and this is sort of like a recurring theme throughout every sort of project that I undertake. This was a sort of really kind of early turning point in the way that I would start making work. You know, it sort of, for a while, it became all about the process of finding things, the process of making things within the world of photography using light-sensitive materials. So this is a photograph that I shot in the desert in Arizona. That I shot. It was a 4x5 image, shot at least six sheets, and I processed the film, and it was just this, what I thought was a kind of boring image of a little twig growing out of a piece of wood, which you can kind of almost see right here. And I was like making work that was like, you know, nature trying to reclaim itself within the man-made world. But I was really sort of feeling like this was a limitation. And so through this kind of frustration, I brought the film back to this spot and left it there. Can't remember exactly, but I think it was like a week. And this was sort of the result of the film then being weathered, so that that same kind of action that nature was taking on the wood would then do its thing with the film. So I started making these images where I would shoot in places and bring the film back so that the place would be allowed to participate in the image making process and help make the work. And this was then, I would then do the same thing with print, photographic print. So through this process, it was a matter of like figuring out how I was going to get the materials to interact in a way. This is all this. You know, these first three images are from 2002, 2003, so they're kind of old at this point. But as I was making this new work, I was thinking of like this is a kind of thread that keeps popping up in my work. So I thought, you know, under that heading, the heading of In Every Atom Are 100 Blazing Suns, like this, I would sort of try and piece together these threads of my work throughout the past 7 or 8 years that sort of can sort of bring meaning for me in my process, in my practice. This is a series of images where I would collect things, find things when I was out photographing, and then I would put them into the enlarger head in place of the film, and then the object itself would make the image. So I would print. So these sort of became unique objects because there was no film. So they're kind of like photograms, but the thing is never in the contact of the paper. A series of these. I kind of want to open it up. If you feel like you want to ask questions, that's great.
How is this different from my photogram?
I'm sorry?
How is this different from my photogram?
Well, a traditional photogram, the object is in contact with the paper in a way. And this is all the objects are in the enlarger head, so they need to be small enough to fill a 4x5 frame.
Is that a fish?
Yes. So then that work was sort of a jettison to this work, which I started rethinking. I was reading some books about physics, and I was thinking about the sort of interconnectedness of things and how everything is a part of everything else. And when I originally started putting this presentation together, I was thinking about this 1966 science fiction film, Fantastic Voyage. Has anyone seen that movie where scientists get shrunk so that they can go be injected into a body, and then they have a certain amount of time before the white blood cells will realize that they're invaders and have to destroy them. But the goal was to get a blood clot out or something. I can't remember. But you know, and that's the sort of way I try to think about the work. It's like, how do I bring like two things together without being, you know, within a photograph, which is really kind of a challenging thing to do. And I was thinking about composition and decomposition, and the thing that I was photographing, you know, all being allowed to play a significant part in the image making process. So a lot of it was giving up certain things, a certain amount of control in order to allow things to happen. So as you can imagine, there were a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that I did that, you know, never resulted in anything. But these were sort of, this is a series of images that I would allow the object to make its very specific mark. So it was like that thing made these marks. So I would photograph this plant of grass, and then I put get the film processed, and then put it in the planter. So then that thing is decomposing the image of itself. So these all these images talk about gray.
What was that?
What was it?
Nice.
This one? Nice. Yeah, it's nice.
So how long did the film sit in an ice tray?
I sort of, you know, everything was kind of different depending on temperature, and like that ice tray was, I think, at least a month.
Really?
But this oven was only about 30 seconds. But I would put the whole roll in. I would shoot one roll of the same exact thing, but the roll and pick the one I thought was the best. One that looked that did what I kind of set out to hope to happen. Like this is just taped to the floor, and I think I left that there for 2 months. So it's like everything in this household is interacting with that piece of film.
What's going on here?
So a bar of soap.
And you left the film.
So I shot the soap, and I put the film in the shower until that bar of soap was gone. Salt, one of the key elements in the art of the image, fixes the image. Also can destroy the image.
Wait, so what's going on there? That's in the dishwasher?
You
And are you ran
you
over
ran
the
a cycle?
dishwasher?
Yeah, so one cycle through the dishwasher.
So is that something scratching it? Or
I'm not exactly sure. I think it was hot water splashing against it.
oh.
If the door was open right here, the film was on this side, and the forks are separate, kind of over here.
Sorry if you said, but what sort of format is the film?
This is medium format. The earlier stuff was 4x5, and then those kind of photogram things are no film, and these are square medium format. 120 film. So, you know, making this kind of work, I was sort of felt like this was really limited too, and I was kind of like, you know, I could do this forever, but you know, put this film somewhere else. So I was kind of like, I got to a kind of point where I was really struggling with how to move from this to something else, and I was once again frustrated, and I bought a disposable camera, went into the ocean and photographed the ocean while you know, like, when a wave would crash, I would let it crash over me, myself, the camera, and then the water would sort of seep into the camera, so it also became a filter. So I was shooting the water through the water, and then the water was eroding the film, all as I was photographing, and that's the next series of you know, all the while I'm sort of struggling with meaning. What does this work mean? And I recently received my MFA, and one of my professors was talking to me about termite art, and this writer of film named Manny Farber sort of coined this term, and he coined it in reference to painting, but saying that, you know, the goal of the artist was to make that one masterpiece, and his idea was more like in that sort of a building up of painting. He was more interested in what happens when you take it away, and it sort of really resonated with me because I feel like throughout my whole process of practice, I've been sort of trying to take as much away to reveal as much as I can about what I'm photographing. Yeah, these are all from that same series. And this sort of segues into my thesis show, I guess, which was kind of all about media culture and how we receive images and how we sort of spit them back out, and how everything is so oversaturated and heightened at this point. And so my show was called Prominent American Ghosts, and I was thinking a lot about contemporary myths, which I consider to be like stories of Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, things like that. And this is a series of photographs. This is kind of an installation shot inside, and this is one straight on, where I took the enlarger heads in the black and white dark rooms were covered in clear plastic, and I thought, you know, these were sort of rooms that no one ever went to anymore. Everyone, you know, is usually scanning or shooting color, and I pretty much always had free range of anything I wanted. And my original intention was I was thinking about I was collecting these garbage bags because they're everywhere. I was thinking about that garbage bag island in the Pacific Ocean. So I was going to do this kind of study of like these bags are everywhere, and you know, people don't think about it. But and then I got to the dark room and I'd forgotten the bags. So I was like, all right, I'm here and I have nothing to do. But then the enlargers were wrapped in these large, clear plastic bags, and so these are all 11 by 14 black and white silver gels and prints that I sort of taped together in the back, and I would lay the bag down and then make a photogram. So it's like a fraction of a second of light because it's clear plastic. And you know, I wasn't really thinking much about it at the time, but I was sort of thinking about this idea that is, you know, it happens in every medium, but like there's always like, oh, photography's dead, painting's dead, all this stuff. And I thought it was kind of a sort of funny homage to that kind of idea because, you know, everything, all these things die and they come back, and you know, it's like popular culture, everything happens in cycles, and I feel like this cycle will come around again. So these are some more installation shots. You know, these. I'm just going to go through these. Also do a lot of video work, and you know, this is a 5-channel video, all synchronized. Each had its own soundtrack that when played together was one piece. All talking about sort of